my dear child, someone dear to you is on the verge of departure. And no, I'm not referring to some far-off time. Not next year. Not even next month. I mean next week. Yes, my dear child, next week. A connection you believe to be unbreakable will face a trial or may even be shattered. But the pressing questions are, why is this occurring now? On what day will it all come to light? And most chilling of all, who is the individual you are about to lose? Because the unsettling reality is that I could have intervened, but the person you are about to lose desired this conclusion. And the reason behind their choice will pierce your heart. So, if you are prepared to confront this harsh truth, let us proceed. My dear child, indeed, it is true. You are going to lose someone dear to you next week. Yes, my dear child. A connection that appeared unbreakable, steadfast, and invisible is now teetering on the brink of collapse. And I understand you've been pondering, questioning, why am I disclosing something so significant, so shocking about them at this late hour? Why didn't I inform you of this sooner? Perhaps last year, perhaps last month. And you are justified in thinking that. But there is a reason. A reason that will not only astonish you but also shake you to your very foundation. Because my silence was not due to negligence. No, my dear child, I remained quiet because I was striving. I was doing everything in my power to alter the outcome, to rewrite the conclusion, to prevent this from happening to this individual. That's why I offered them assistance. I reached out. I softly said, you don't have to take this path. I provided signals. I even placed individuals in their way, hoping they would accept my hand and allow me to avert this, but they declined. They turned away from my support. They said, no, to the very hand that could have rescued them. Yes, my dear child, the person you are about to lose desires this ending. But why? Why would they opt for this suffering? Why would they distance themselves from you, from me, from everything that could have mended this bond? That truth, that reason will leave you in shock. It will shatter your heart because it's not what you expect. So, my dear child, if you are prepared, if you possess the courage to confront the truth, then grant me just 8 minutes, and I will disclose everything to you. Let's get started, my child. To unveil the complete truth, to explain why they turned down my assistance, and to reveal their true selves. I must take you back to the moment it all started. Yes, my dear child, for I still recall that day. It was a Tuesday. The sun was shining brightly. The world appeared normal, yet everything was on the verge of transformation because that was the day they received a phone call. But this was no ordinary phone call. No, my dear child. This call was a detonator, a spark, a trigger that was about to ignite something buried deep within them, something they had been concealing, suppressing for far too long. And that is precisely what transpired. Because the instant they answered, the moment they brought that phone to their ear, everything shifted, everything transformed. Yes, my dear child. Because when that call concluded, when they heard that final click, the world around them became a blur. They were still breathing, still seated, still alive. But something within them, something essential. Indeed, in that moment, they sat paralyzed, gripping the phone so tightly that their knuckles turned white, yet they couldn't feel it because their hands were as cold as ice. And for one horrifying moment, they weren't even certain if they were breathing at all. In those hushed moments, the room around them vanished. The walls, the sounds, the colors, even the light itself faded into oblivion. Time didn't merely slow down. It came to a halt. For them, it felt as if the entire world had vanished. And in that frozen silence, all they could hear were the words from that phone call, words that reverberated endlessly in their mind, like a haunting drumbeat. Because what they heard, what they received in that single phone call detonated something astonishing. And now, My dear child, I am prepared to reveal exactly what those words were, precisely what was communicated, and why it altered everything. So, if you are prepared, if you possess the bravery to confront the final aspect of this truth, then stay with me for just a few more moments, and I will reveal everything to you, my child. The precise words, the exact tone, the specific sentence that triggered this turmoil were these: "We regret to inform you. Multiple accounts have been drained. Wire transfers authorized in your name, and the signatures match. Sir, we suspect this was premeditated. The funds are gone." Yes, my child, gone. And in that instant, everything around them imploded. The world shifted. Their heart raced, and a silence louder than thunder enveloped the room. Because this was not merely fraud. This was not just digits on a screen. No, this was deeply personal. It wasn't an unknown assailant. It wasn't some faceless hacker lurking abroad. It was someone much closer, a long-time associate, someone who was aware of every password, every vulnerability, someone they trusted implicitly. And now that very person had their blood on his hands. Yes, my child. This betrayal transcended financial loss. It was a stab to the soul. What ensued was not merely about losing money. It was about losing faith, losing hope, losing a fragment of themselves that could never be reclaimed. Because after that phone call, after the reality settled like ash in their lungs, they approached a mirror. And I must reveal to you what they saw in the mirror after that call. Because that was the moment they ceased to believe I was still on their side, my child. They rose. One slow, trembling step toward the mirror. And when their gaze met their own reflection, they did not see a fighter. They did not see a survivor. No, they saw shame. They saw disgrace. They saw a burden crushed beneath the weight of betrayal. Their hands remained frozen like ice, their breath still trapped in their chest, their spirit now disintegrating into dust. And as they gazed at that shattered reflection, something within them broke. In that silence, during the moment of their greatest vulnerability, another voice crept in, neither mine nor the voice of truth, but the one that has perpetually whispered deceit into the ears of those with shattered hearts. You deserve this. You placed too much trust. God does not prevent betrayals like this. Perhaps you were destined to fall. And my child, that is where the true battle commenced, not with the empty bank accounts, nor with the forged signatures, but with that voice, attempting to persuade them that the fall was irreversible. For even as I reached out to them, even as I fulfilled my promise, Isaiah 41:10, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God," they were unable to perceive it. They could not feel it. They could not believe it. They were already convinced that the fall marked the end, that I had withdrawn, that I had forsaken them to their suffering. But listen to me, my child. The reality is, the fall was not the conclusion. Not then. Not now. Because even in that instant, even as they crumbled within, I had already orchestrated a rescue, a path to escape, a return to tranquility. But what transpired next will rattle you to your very core. For when I offered that rescue, when I reached out to lift them from the shadows, they did something that altered everything. And that is why I am addressing you now with such urgency, for their reaction to my rescue will astonish you. Yes, my child. Even after this tempest, even after betrayal fractured their spirit, I reached out. I did not turn my back. I did not forsake them. No, I enveloped them. I provided signs, synchronicities, moments that seemed too perfect to be mere chance, whispers carried by the breeze, reminders in songs, in the words of strangers, in dreams they could not comprehend. I offered healing. I laid out paths of restoration before them. I revealed verses, not in the places they sought, but in the areas they were not even considering. I sent messengers, individuals who conveyed my voice in moments they least anticipated. I opened doors, escape routes, avenues that no human could have constructed because I desired their freedom. I desired them to be whole. Yet, they turned me down. They refused my offer. They rejected my outstretched hand. And it wasn't due to pride. It wasn't because they believed they could mend it on their own, but rather because despair had consumed them entirely. When someone loses faith in themselves, when they think they are too damaged to rise again, they also lose faith in me. They remained silent. No words left their mouths. But deep within their spirit, they cried out, "I don't want to be saved. I don't want to try once more. I just want it all to end quietly." Thus, they chose to fade away. Not in body, but in spirit. They vanished from me, from hope, from the version of themselves I envisioned them to be. But my dear child, listen closely. This is not the conclusion because I have not penned the conclusion. The tale is not finished. Triumph does not belong to the one who shatters you. Triumph belongs to the one who rises again, hand in hand with me. But know this, my child. I cannot breathe life into someone who does not wish to breathe again. That is why the upcoming week will challenge a bond you believed could never be severed. The choice they make will determine everything. My brave child. Take a moment and glance behind you. Never forget how far you have journeyed from your starting point. The gap between your former self and who you are now is a testament to my strength working through you. You have traveled great distances on this path of becoming. Each step forward has been a victory. Everything you have endured should have shattered you. Yet, it forged you instead. The financial tempests that threatened to engulf you, the relationships that left you wounded, the health crisis that rattled your foundation, the betrayals that almost obliterated your trust. You have survived them all. Every time you pressed on, even when you felt you couldn't take another breath, another heartbeat, another moment of suffering, you did. When your strength was utterly exhausted, you discovered reserves you never knew existed. Every morning you managed to get out of bed, regardless of how difficult it felt, even when depression urged you to stay down. Yet, you chose to rise. Those moments were not trivial victories, they were acts of defiance against despair. Each time you felt like giving up, like throwing in the towel, like surrendering to the darkness, you persevered through another day, and then another, and yet another. Never forget the strength you have cultivated along this journey. You are more resilient than you have ever acknowledged. Listen closely, my dear child. I see everything. I know you have been battling for a long time, carrying burdens that seem too heavy for your shoulders. The sleepless nights, the anxious thoughts, the weight of it all. Financially, you have encountered doors that appeared permanently shut. Spiritually, you have felt a distance, questioning and searching. Emotionally, your heart has been stretched to its limits. But hear me clearly, you possess a good heart. That light within you is genuine, pure, and significant. I have witnessed how people have mistreated you in various ways. Those who should have supported you instead brought you down. The adversary has attempted to drive you to madness countless times, whispering falsehoods, sowing doubt, and creating chaos in your mind. The betrayals have cut deep, haven't they? You have faced betrayal from those you trusted the most. Yet, look at you now. You stand amidst your storms, still breathing, still fighting, still believing. You are still here because I am always by your side. In your darkest moments, in your deepest valleys, I have never abandoned you. This is my promise, no weapon formed against you will succeed. Every attack, every setback, every effort to destroy you will fail. Do not fear, your breakthrough is on the horizon. I will turn things around and bless you in front of your adversaries. They will witness your restoration. Hold on to your faith, beloved. Your victory is already written.